What's up? What's up? And thank you for tuning in. So let's get right into it. I know y'all heard the news. JJ McCarthy has been ruled out for the game on Thursday against the Detroit Lions with a hairline fracture in his throwing hand. Now, I gotta be real with y'all. I was more down about the situation on Sunday when he didn't come back after halftime. But after a couple of days, like I'm not so emotional about it. Like I'm not so mad. I kind of expected, it to be broken or it to come back, some with some kind of bad news, especially, with it dropping on Tuesday. Cause I hope that they was gonna give us an update, early Monday morning, when the team got back home. But it is what it is. But the purpose of this video is this though, right? I'm just starting to question myself with the whole JJ McCarthy situation. And the reason why I question myself is like this. It's like I'm starting to think like, is my patience to a fault? And what I mean by that is like, am I being way too patient with this McCarthy situation? Am I overlooking, you know, certain things? Is he really injury prone? And I'm just like so happy that the Vikings drafted a, young quarterback and I want to see him develop so bad that I'm overshadowing everything else. But I'm gonna break it down on why I feel this way and why other things contribute to the reason why I'm patient. So let's dive in. Now, if you've been a Minnesota Viking fan for some time, like myself, then you would know that the Vikings has basically been, a landing stop for veteran mercenary quarterbacks. And what I mean by that is like the Minnesota Vikings are is rare that they have their own quarterback. You feel me? Like you don't have Kirk Cousins coming here, play well. You don't have Sam Darnold coming here. You had the Brad Favre year. You don't have Matt Castle. You don't have Donovan McNabb. You don't had Randall Cunningham. You don't have Warren Moon. You don't have multiple guys in the history of the Minnesota Vikings, come from other teams to be that final piece to the puzzle so the Vikings can win a Super Bowl. Now, I'm tired of it. You feel me? Like I really am tired of it because I just feel like I want a homegrown guy. You get what I'm saying? Like I want to root for a guy that we drafted and I see him go through the bumps and bruises, go through the peaks and valleys, and basically he develops into the franchise quarterback that we want him to be. Like I want to have that same kind of admiration and that, cheering for a guy like we did for Dante Culpepper back in the day, because Dante was our guy. And I mean, it didn't work out well. We didn't get a Super Bowl out of it, but like I couldn't help but root for that guy. Like that was our guy. And it just seems like this team is going overboard with always having to bring in quarterbacks from other teams. Like if you go on the internet right now, especially like Twitter, even on YouTube, you see a lot of people talking about, what the Vikings should do in the offseason. They got to bring in Joe Burrow, trade the farm, like, trade for Mac Jones or, try to get this guy. And it's just like, why are we not happy, with what we have? Like why we can't, you know, be patient with what we have and develop that talent and, see what happens. It's like the first instant things go bad, it's like, let's look to somebody else's team to get a quarterback, and it's crazy because it's like, I remember, after the NFC title game, against the Philadelphia Eagles, like, yeah, that team probably was one piece away. They probably was a quarterback away. And everybody was talking, yeah, man, Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback in the offseason. Man, look at his yards. Man, he can do this, he can do that. And the Vikings actually went out there, re signed Cousins, not re-signed, sorry. The Vikings actually went out there, signed Kirk Cousins, who was, in everybody's opinion, the best quarterback available, because you couldn't go with Case, another year. Teddy Bridgewater's leg was never the same, and you knew what you had in Sam Bradford with the knee injuries. And I was happy. I was happy at that point. Like, okay, cool. Let's roll. It didn't turn out well. You know, like it just didn't. And I'm just saying, like, I just I just want some homegrown talent, and that's a part of the reason why, like, I'm rallying so hard for McCarthy. Is Yeah, because I'm just looking for that homegrown talent, and it's just like it makes it a whole lot easier to root for. Like, I'm not saying I'm not going to root for any quarterback that play for the team, but I just think it gets over redundant, man. It's like first sign of anything going wrong. Let's go to look at this team. He can come in here and it's just like, yeah, I'm just kind of fatigued at doing that. You feel me? So another thing too is like player development. And when I'm talking about player development, I'm not just talking about the quarterback position. I'm talking about the whole roster. And if you've been following me on the channel, I kind of talk about multiple times about, you know, coaches not putting young players in positions to actually develop their talent and actually get better. And how I look at it is that if you look at the position groups on this roster, the best position groups with the young development are, in my opinion, the wide receivers and the defensive line. And after that, there's no real development on the roster like that. You feel me? Like the offensive line, you got Ryan Kelly, Real Fries, Brian O'Neill, Christian Darrisaw. The only young guy you got that's actually playing is Donovan Jackson because we never see Russell Ross. Like we just never see the other development linemen, that come in there. I think Blake Brandell has been a bright spot, but that's it. I mean, tight ends, Ben Ewer said we haven't seen him all season because he's been injured. You know, Oliver and TJ Hawkinson are they haven't hit the age cliff yet, but they might be approaching it. Um, running back, Aaron Jones is the older type running back. George Mason is kind of right there. So it's like we need to see more development of the young players on this roster. And I think like the Vikings are lacking in that area. I mean, I'm gonna just paint a scenario for you guys. It's like initially when I saw that Jonathan Grenard was going to be injured for the rest of the season, I mean, I lit up. Like I was like, okay, cool. Not that the fact that he was hurt, but I lit up because it was like, okay, damn, the season is already over. I want to see way more from Dallas Turner. And then I'm watching the game and I'm not seeing Dallas Turner. He not hurt. I'm just not seeing Dallas Turner where he needs to be. Like they got Eric Wilson playing that role, since Grenard has been going. Not to say that Dallas Turner hasn't been in the game and he hasn't making plays, but I want to see Dallas Turner every snap. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't want to see Eric Wilson rushing the pass like that. Let him play middle linebacker. I want Dallas Turner in that spot because I think that's the only way this team is going to get better if they actually allow the young guys to go out there and play. I mean, on the defense, it's like, yo, we need some safeties. These safeties we have, like Harrison Smith's probably not going to be here next year. We we know what we have on Josh Metellus, but Josh Metellus is at his best when he's able to rove around the field. So it's like, where's the young development? And that's just why I'm holding on to McCarthy so much because it's like that's a young player at the most important spot in the NFL, quarterback. And I'm just like, I'm not willing to give up on that as of right now. Like, I'm I'm just not. So let's just go into another situation, like on why I feel like my patience is where it is. The quarterback guru, right? We all know who the quote unquote quarterback guru was in the league. In my opinion, it's Kyle Shanahan, but this ain't a 49er video. So excuse me. Going into this season, it was real big talk. Kevin O'Connell, quarterback guru. Kevin O'Connell can get any quarterback and prop them up in his offense and make them look good. And then he couldn't. Then we had JJ McCarthy, and things did not look great at the beginning of the season. And that was my whole thing with Kevin O'Connell going into it. Was like we've never seen Kevin O'Connell develop a young quarterback. We've seen him prop up, and look at the words I'm using: prop up. We've seen him prop up a veteran quarterback like Kirk Cousins or Nick Mullins and Sam Darnold. We've seen him prop up that, but we haven't seen him like break down a quarterback, that just gets drafted, break down his mechanics, make his mechanics be a whole lot better going forward. Teach him new things, nuance to the position. We have never seen that. And that's why I questioned the whole situation with like giving him that quarterback guru title, because I was like, yo, like we haven't seen it yet. Like we haven't seen it. I mean, and I always say this too, like Justin Jefferson being that great eraser, a lot of times erases a lot of bad quarterback play. But as you see this season, Jefferson hasn't been able to erase the bad quarterback play. You feel me? But this was a big issue for me because I was like, all right, cool. Kevin O'Connell, let's see what he can do with a young quarterback, because you already know in the building, Kevin O'Connell is the quarterback guy. It was Kevin O'Connell's job to identify the young quarterback of the future and develop him. And I just think they fell short. I think they didn't do as enough as they could for McCarthy during the offseason, during the season. And they waited to basically like week 14 to kind of simplify the offense to make it, more conducive for McCarthy. And I just feel like that was something they should have done week one. And that's why looking at that, it's like, well, I gotta be patient with McCarthy because, you know, he got hit with a trick bag with his this whole coaching staff and his quarterback guru shit, you know? So that's just another thing on why my patience is like that too. So let's get into McCarthy's injury history, right? I'm I'm questioning this. It's like I'm not saying this is fact or this is gospel, but this is what I'm having problems with. It's like I'm having a problem determining is if McCarthy's injuries are just flukes or is he just injury prone? And I hear some people out there say like, okay, when a person's injury prone, let's say they tear their ACL on their right leg, and then next thing you know, they they got an ankle injury or they got an Achilles injury on another leg because the body's overcompensating. And I'm like, all right, cool, I can get that. And I'm not buying that because it's like it wants to sell me like, okay, that like McCarthy's gonna be okay. But I'm just listening to it like, all right, cool. Could that be it? Because look at McCarthy's injuries, right? First year you had the meniscus gone for the season, right? This season, the first injury he had was basically the high ankle sprain. All right, cool. Then he had the concussion. Cool. All right, it is what it is. You can't say you can't say too much about the concussion injuries. Look at what we're dealing with Ryan Kelly, right? And now he got the fractured, hairline fracture in his hand. Those are all different injuries. So I'm just asking the question, and maybe if you guys in the chat, listening and watching this video, let me know. Like, is he injury prone, or is this just bad luck? Because how I'm looking at it, like I'm hoping, if this is just bad luck, then maybe he's getting these injuries out the way, and maybe this is just injuries from a quote unquote first year starting quarterback that needs to adjust to the speed of the game, needs to adjust to how to, control his body or protect his body down the line. Maybe that's it. I'm just I'm I'm just saying maybe. I'm not saying this is fact or not, but this is the conversations I'm having is to be like, all right, cool. Maybe I should be some more patient with McCarthy because if he get these injuries over, he plays next season, he's cool and he doesn't miss any time, maybe the injuries are over. But I think about this too, though, right? Let's say McCarthy, starts the season. I hope he starts the season. I hope he ain't doing that bench and shit. But if he gets injured again, how much time is too much time? You get what I'm saying? Like how much time is too much time? Like what's the number? Is it like, 4 games, 2 games? Because quarterbacks get injured all the time in the NFL, especially in the 17 game season. Now, I'm not trying to hold it above his head like he has to play 17 games next year. I'm just asking y'all too, like, what's the game number? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? I'll say 3. I say 3. If he misses more time over 3, then it's like, okay, cool. We got to make a decision. All right. Now, this is what I see in McCarthy. The eye test. Like, this ain't a draft video, but let's talk about the eye test. Man, that first game against the Chicago Bears, the whole offense looked like shit. I don't know what they did, how they turned the light on, but something clicked. and they won that game, and the boy looked good. Then he came out there, to the home on opener against the Atlanta Falcons and just laid a goddamn goose egg. Came back, and we really couldn't see things rolling. And then it seems like when Kevin O'Connell decided to change their offense, the light switch came on again, and he was back, hunting down the field. I mean, we're not going to talk about all the drops. We're not going to talk about he needs to put more touch on the ball. I'm just saying we started to see, a change. We just started to see him progress. We started to see him, be better at the line. We started to see him make better plays down the field. We started to see different things with McCarthy that we can bank on. And then he got hurt again, and everything is put on hold. So that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm believing. And it's like outside of the play on the field, like the locker room stuff, like his intensity. Like I'm just listening to what a lot of teammates, say about McCarthy because teammates will throw another teammate under the bus real quick. And I haven't seen that with McCarthy. I haven't seen players come out and say, yeah, he's not doing this and he's not doing that. All I'm hearing is, yeah, he's learning. He's gonna be better. He got this. We believe in him. And that makes me believe in him. So, like, man, that's the eye test for me. And that's another reason why, too, like I'm being patient with this whole situation, right? So, Pete, we have to talk about this because y'all know I'm transparent on this channel. I'm honest. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm gonna say it, but it is what it is. So off-season fix, and it's not a fix because you just can't fix the injuries. But what can the Vikings do in the offseason to not have this problem? How I look at it, the highest priority for the Minnesota Vikings going into the offseason should be getting a viable backup quarterback. And I'm not saying bringing in a quarterback that's going to compete with McCarthy for the starting role. Bring in a quarterback that's been in the NFL that you can sign maybe 2-3 seasons or 2 years in the fourth year to where he can be on this roster and he can solidify the backup quarterback position. Now, that's no slight against Mac Brosmer, but I just think that you can't have, you know, two young guys on his roster and not a wily vet that can kind of help push these guys along. And that, and that veteran quarterback has to be a quarterback that you believe in that can run this offense and can win you a couple of games just in case something happens with McCarthy. And that could be anything. It could be McCarthy sucking. He's playing horrible. So you got to bring the backup in. Or he's injured again. Let's hope not. Let's hope that's not the that's not the scenario. What I'm saying is they got to solidify the backup quarterback position. And when I'm saying that is like if they do that, and let's just say McCarthy gets hurt again and he has to miss 6, 7, 8 games, then you got a guy that you can roll with for the rest of the season. And then off season, now you make your decision. Either you put McCarthy as the backup or you draft somebody else. Now you make that decision because I'm just not there yet of giving up on McCarthy only in his second season. I want to see what can transpire next year. I want to see if he can stay healthy next year. I want to give it the benefit of a doubt because technically, in my opinion, this is his first season. So that's all I got for y'all. I just really wanted to come on here and express to y'all like how I've been feeling about this whole McCarthy situation and give you guys my unfiltered opinion on how I feel and just kind of question myself too. Like, am I being too patient? Like, am I looking at things wrong? Stuff like that. But that's all I got. And before I get out of here, I gotta say this though. I appreciate y'all, watching the channels, liking the videos, and I really appreciate the comments. Like, I love looking at the comments and going back and forth and with ideas with you guys, But if you don't see another video, from me, this is probably your last one before Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Hope you guys keep your family safe and everything like that. I'm out. Let's go.